All right, welcome to another edition of the Rising Coaches Member Spotlight. Today we're joined by our guy, Matt Cline. Matt, what's up, man?
What's up, Adam? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on here. Matt's got workouts, so we're starting a little bit early today, getting right back on the court. How long have you guys been doing workouts here?
Just this week, yeah. So I appreciate the flexibility with the timing. Our workouts changed a little bit, and
Yeah, all
so
good. That's
yeah,
how it is.
yeah,
So we were just kind of talking about it. First of all, you're at Eastern Michigan.
yep.
What kind of, it's a bird, right? Your mascot's like some sort of fierce.
Eagles used to be the Huron.
Eagle. Okay, yeah.
A couple, I don't know, decades ago, they changed from the Hurons to the Eagles. So, yeah, Eagles now.
Nice. Okay. So we were just talking about it. Like, what's it like? Obviously, I'm sure you're excited to be back in the gym, but it takes a little getting used to, right? You were just talking about how like the last 6 months we've been behind computers.
It's nice to be back. Yeah, what's funny is we're past 6 months, we're learning all these different things we want to teach and do with the guys, and finally we have the chance to incorporate some of those things. So definitely the first week I've incorporated some new drills and new skills that I wanted to teach the guys, and it's been fun seeing them progress even in the first few days. And our group's been really mature, and it's been really fun so far. Yeah, it's been good.
Can you give me an example of something that you like picked up over the last, over this pandemic that you're right away trying to implement?
Well, for instance, I've been really trying to emphasize change of speed and change of pace as opposed to dribble combinations and moves like that. So less like how many dribble combination moves can you do, but more so how well can you change pace? How well can you go from slow to fast or start and stop? So I think we're big into film layering. I call it layering, like NBA film with what we do in our workouts, so that our guys can see why we do what we do. Why and how it transfers from practice to game, and NBA players doing it as well. So I think that creates more buy-in. So this first week, like I said, we focused on part of what we focused on is that slow to fast, start to stop, change of pace.
Yeah, I love it. And yeah, it always helps when you can show like an NBA All-Star doing that stuff.
Yeah, it creates buy-in. The guys love it. And then you also, you can have the terminology be similar. These guys all want to play pro, and whether it's, overseas or G League or NBA, they have dreams. So, and some of them have the ability to do it. So to get them a head start with terminology and film, I think it's good for them. And it, like I said, it creates buy-in. So they're excited to do it.
That's what it's all about, the buy-in.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any difference, not specifically with your guys, but like in your current team, but just like, for the last, whenever they changed the rule allowing summer workouts, maybe 10 years ago, it's almost become like a year-round sport. You know what I mean? Like you're training all the time. And now we've just had about 6 months off.
Yeah.
Have you noticed, like, are your guys more juiced than usual?
Yeah.
Are they like, do you think a break is good?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think like my head coach, Coach Murphy, does a great job of like not overkill. Like we didn't Zoom every week during the quarantine. We didn't, it wasn't over the top. Like we would check in with the guys and definitely stay in touch and do different things, but it wasn't overkill. And so I think there is, like you said, a sense of like excitement to be on the floor again, to see each other, because we had that time away. And like you said, it could be like 11, 12 months out of the year, you're constantly with these guys. So a little break, the juices are definitely flowing on Monday or Tuesday when we started up, and the excitement hasn't dropped off yet. And we'll see, it's consistency and keeping it going. But I definitely understand what you're saying and coming from, because I think it's true for us. The guys are excited to be on the floor, and it's been fun to coach.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Matt. Well, tell us a little bit more about you, man. Give us the background story. Where'd you grow up? How'd you get into basketball and coaching?
Right. So I grew up in Binghamton, New York. It's about an hour south of Syracuse, 3 hours north of New York City area. So played high school ball, was a good high school player for my area. Could have played Division III basketball, but I played junior college out of high school. After my junior college season, I started coaching AAU travel ball with my oldest brother's best friend. And he suggested, trying to figure out where I wanted to go in my life, he suggested, I was like, this coaching seems pretty fun. So he suggested I be a student manager as opposed to going like Division III route. So I ended up sending letters, and the old story, everybody, letters and resumes all over the country. And so that summer was getting some letters back saying basically you have to be enrolled to be a student manager. And I was like, if I move somewhere across the country, I want to make sure I'm going to have a spot as a student manager. So so I just said I'm going to go back to my junior college. Maybe I'll coach in my old high school. And what happened was, I'll never forget it. It's part of my life story, probably the biggest changing point in my life. In August that year, I was 19 years old. The head coach of South Alabama called me, Ronnie Arrow. He just got hired that summer. John Pelfrey went to Arkansas. Ronnie Arrow came back to South Alabama. He called me on a Thursday night, and he said, one of the schools I sent letters and resumes to, he said, I have a scholarship for manager or GA. We got to talking. He said, I talked to you and this kid from Arizona. Whoever says they wants it first gets it. School starts Monday. And I was like, wow, I mean, that sounds awesome. But, I said, it's like 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday. I've never been to Alabama, never seen the campus, don't know anything about it. And I was like, Coach, like, thanks, but no thanks. Like, I mean, I can't, that's hard. Like, and so I'm 19, and so I hung up. I have 3 older brothers. I told them, and they're like, you have to do that. Are you crazy? Like, that'd be like if Jim Boeheim called you and he wanted you to come work for him, and he offering to pay your school. Like, what are you thinking? So I called him back Friday morning. I said, Coach, I'll do it. Like, has the kid from Arizona contacted you? He's like, no. He's like, yeah. He's like, you got to register for school. You got to find an apartment. So that day, Friday, I did that. I had a party that night with my friends and family. And Saturday morning, I was on a one-way ticket to Mobile, 6 a.m. And I remember getting off the plane and just the humidity just, like swallowed me. I mean, I was like, where am I? And so, and then the funny thing is, like, Monday we had a team meeting, and Coach Arrow was like, yeah, this is Matt. He's from Buffalo, New York. And I'm like, and then one of the assistants like, you're not from Buffalo, are you? I was like, nah, I'm from Binghamton. And he's like, yeah. So anyways, I was there, there for 4 years. The first year, super tough, not knowing anybody. I was the only manager, no GAs, doing everything, like, just tough. So, cool thing is I got to join the team my senior year, joined as a player, and last semester, which was cool. Nice, really cool experience. So from there was a GA at Florida State for 2 years. Phenomenal, working for Coach Hamilton and staff there.
Who was what year was that? That was like
11 through 13.
Okay, so was Enfield there at that time?
Year, I think. Yeah.
So him and Fly were gone.
So, but the cool thing about Florida State is they do a really good job of, like, the tree, the family tree, like keeping everybody in the loop. And Final Fours, Coach Hamilton always, buys everybody brunch. We have a big meeting, so that's a cool thing. So there for 2 years, and then just like trying to break in, right? Like everybody after their grad, after their manager or GA days, what's this first job I can get? Emailed all the JUCOs in Florida. Hey, this is who I am. This is my experience. Do you have any spots available? Coach Forbes was at Northwest Florida at the time. He emailed me back and said, I may have a volunteer spot available, doesn't pay, has housing. Let me know if you're interested. I Googled who Coach Forbes was, and I was like, oof, I got to be a part of this, And so I went down and interviewed. I got the job. A month later, he leaves for Wichita State. Coach DeMayo comes in. I'm working for free, so he really has no choice but to keep me on. And I'm there for a year. then I come to Eastern Michigan for 2 years as the director of operations. I leave after 1 year or after 2 years to go with Coach Forbes at East Tennessee State. Stayed in touch with him, was his Dobo for a year, and then got hired back at Eastern Michigan as an assistant, and going into my 4th year as an assistant now. So
sweet. Okay. Let's start with Florida State and Coach Hamilton, because Leonard Hamilton is probably one of the most underappreciated legends in our business.
Yeah.
The guy's done an unbelievable job. Obviously to be as good as they've been at in the best league in the ACC with Duke and Carolina right there.
Yeah.
I just don't think he gets enough credit. Can you talk about you kind of touched on how great he is keeping his people together, his coaching tree together. Yeah. What else about him makes him so successful? I've heard a little bit about his work ethic, whatever. Just expand a little bit on him.
Yeah. I think with Coach Hamilton, what I learned, number one, he hires a really good staff. He doesn't allow any nonsense into the program. It's all business. It's all guys who can carry their own weight. And I'm not talking just assistant coaches. It's we had no bad managers. We had no GAs that didn't know what they were doing. I mean, everybody every day was putting their best foot forward. Also, I would say he allows his staff to do their job at a high level. He knows he's got a really good staff, and he doesn't micromanage them. He's phenomenal with the psychology of the student athlete. In the film sessions, being able to sit in and hear him, get inside the guys' heads. I mean, I think one of the most underrated aspects of coaching is the mental fitness. We talk physical fitness, we talk physical training, skill development, but the mental side, I think oftentimes is the foundation of a student athlete's success. And so he is the best at it. And then, allowing Coach Jones, who has I think he's an assistant coach Hall of Fame. I mean, he's phenomenal practice planning, X's and O's. He's very comfortable in his own skin. But the thing with Coach Hamilton, you have to earn his trust too. He's not gonna, you have to, you got to earn his respect as well, even as a manager or a staff member. So, or GA. So, those are a couple things that I think really stand out. At the end of the day, the players will run through a wall for him because he knows he cares, and he'll do anything to help them reach their potential.
And he loves 7-footers.
Loves the 7-footer.
Going back to the mental fitness and his ability, you say he's the best you've been around in terms of being able to, relate and empathize with the student athletes, mental being or whatever. Mm-hmm. Is that just a feel? What are some what are some things you've taken in that regard from him?
Yeah, I think he's just always thinking about. I think again, as coaches, we can get carried away with the X's and O's and the film but constantly having big picture in mind and checking in on the guys, making sure it's the holistic approach to a student athlete. And I think he never lost sight of that. What are we doing to make sure these guys are growing? And I think through those whether it's activities or, in-depth team meetings, learning about each other, not just talking hoops, is where the team grows. And so he never lost sight of the holistic approach to a student athlete. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And then your GANs, they kick you out of the nest. You're scrambling, trying to find something, and you wind up at Northwest Florida State.
Yeah.
I coached Florida JUCO, so I know how good that is, but tell people about the Panhandle League.
Yeah. I mean, we had 11 players go Division I from our team, and we didn't even make it out of the conference. Right. So, I mean, that should tell you something. I think our whole team eventually went Division I. I think we had 8 or 9 that year. I can't remember. I got the poster right here from our team. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, the poster we're on the beach in our team picture. So that, to recruit to the beach, recruit high level guys, being able to be in the gym and all these coaches come down to recruit your guys. opens the networking opportunities. So I told somebody the other day, like, that was the best 10 months almost of my coaching career. It was so much fun. Like, Coach DeMayo was a great guy to work for. Facilities are top notch in that league, and the competition is great. So, and it's a great place to live in Florida. So if you're a young coach and you can somehow break into that league, Panhandle, or any of the leagues in Florida, it's a great opportunity to get your career started.
Do they still have, speaking of facilities there, do they still have the parquet floor?
Oh yeah,
the old garden?
Cleaned about every 2 nights that we got kicked out. Guys want to get shooting done, but they kicked us out to clean that parquet floor.
I love it. There's not enough parquet floors, in my opinion, in the country.
It was us and the Orlando Magic had the only ones in Florida.
Nice. And Coach DeMayo, I know Coach Forbes probably recruited that first year's team, but and obviously he's phenomenal what he's done, and now has the opportunity to do the same thing at Wake Forest. But Coach DeMayo did an unbelievable job there as well, and kept that thing going for a long time. And on the recruiting front and the coaching front, like, there any insight? Like, tell us about Coach DeMayo, Steve DeMayo, who's now at St. John's, right?
Yeah, and I'm fortunate to call him not only former boss and mentor, but like a close friend. He's very personable. What I learned most about him with the recruiting, as that was my first job in a recruiting recruiting role, we would go out to eat at after practice or several times a week, and his ability to strike up conversation with anybody, anytime, anywhere, and his was great to watch. Just being a fly on the wall as he holds conversations with people really helped me, because it made me realize you got to meet in this business. You're constantly meeting people you don't know, strangers essentially, and how to strike up conversations with them and make them feel engaged and make them feel important and genuinely do it. So Coach DeMayo is great at that. He's a people person. And then he was another guy. All the bosses I've worked for, Coach Hamilton, Coach DeMayo, Coach Murphy here, Coach Forbes, one of the keys, I think, to being a successful head coach is not micromanaging, is hiring good staff members and allowing them to do your job. I think it's huge, and it's something that I'm really lucky to never had to work for a boss that was like constantly on my tail trying to tell me what to do, deadlines, all this stuff. It allows you to grow, freedom to be innovative and proactive and creative. And so Coach DeMayo is definitely one of those bosses too.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And could really coach in addition to like getting great talent.
Yeah. And he wasn't afraid to. Another characteristic I think is important as a head coach is like being comfortable in your own skin and not afraid to do something outside the box. And he definitely was not afraid to do that. If his gut felt like he should be doing something during the course of a game, he was going to do it, even if it wasn't by the book.
Right. What, okay, just the guys that we've talked about so far. Coach Forbes, DeMayo, Leonard Hamilton, like unbelievable recruiters. They always have great talent.
Yeah.
Are they patient? Do they know exactly what they're looking for? Is there some sort of common thread between them? Do they not pay attention to like rankings? They trust their eyes. Like, what is it that allows them to always be one of the more talented teams in their leagues?
Yeah. I think knowing what you're recruiting, like Coach Hamilton knows he likes the length and the size and athleticism. And, the main thing from Coach Forbes that I try to keep with me is he always talks about recruit offense and coach defense. It's always easier to get a guy to get in a stance than it is to help increase his shooting percentage by 10%. So he always would talk about recruit offense, coach defense. He would recruit like an assistant coach. I think any head coach that does that is going to have a leg up on the program. And so like Coach DeMayo did that. I mean, all three of those guys recruit like assistant coaches, right? So they're not they're not taking a back seat in recruiting and, you know, making their staff do all the legwork. They're in the trenches, and so that's huge, you know. So I would say that's probably common characteristic. They all recruit like assistants.
All right, Matt. Now take us to Eastern Michigan, and I know we got to wrap up here soon, but this is your 4th year there in this stint, right, as an assistant coach. How have you progressed over the last 4 years and growing into that role?
Again, I would not. I think about this. Oops.
Good, Matt.
Oh yeah, I got a call synced to my. Sorry about that.
No, good.
I would not. I can't picture a boss I'd rather work for my first Division I assistant job than Coach Murphy, because of the freedom and trust that he has in me. And I think that shows with him hiring me back from Adobo. I left for a year, and he hired me back as an assistant, and he allows me to do my job. So what I've grown, you know, skill development wise, on the floor, becoming a better teacher, and I think I've really done that. The freedom to teach, the freedom to coach, the freedom to be creative with the drills and how I want to do that. He's allowed me to do that. And again, it's not like I'm at practice and I'm standing on the sidelines being a cheerleader. You know, I'm coaching, I'm teaching, I'm doing film, you know, and I don't know if that would have been the same at every Division I stop I had. So, or if I were to be at another Division I school. So, anyways, just I think that's the biggest thing. Him allowing me to do my job. I think he understands. Like, I've been a manager, I've been a GA, I've been a Dobo, I've been an assistant coach at JUCO level. I understand and have empathy for all aspects of the program, and so he gets it. And so he's you know, if I need to have a hand in equipment, you know, or do something like that, I've done that before. So here's my suggestion with that. Or, you know, if I have to, you know, hiring our GAs, or I don't know, marketing on campus, being a liaison between our athletic administration to people on campus, you know, he allows me to be creative, and I'm very grateful and never lose sight of that. And I'm always thankful for that.
All right, Matt. Last thing before I let you go, I know you work closely with the Grow the Game crew, Jake Sirota, who just shouted you out on the comments, and Ashton Pills, and
Yeah.
Grow the Game is a group of, you know, college managers,
Yeah.
current and former managers. What advice would you give to somebody, Matt, who's trying to either just getting started or trying to break into the profession? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, and shout out to Jake and Ashton. You know, I love their passion. I love that they're constantly trying to get better and help people along the way. I would just give managers, you know, everybody said do a great job where you're at, and follow your passion. I mean, be persistent in your pursuit of wanting to achieve something in this profession, and trust the process. You know, I try to do 3 things every day, and it started when I was a manager. And the 3 things are: I try to work hard, I try to do the right thing, and treat people the right way. So that's my advice for managers. You know, I'll never forget, like, when I was a manager, my dad would be like, "Well, where's your next job? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" And it was, you know, this was after I graduated. We were talking June, July, going into August, and me not having a GA. And I'm like, "I don't know, Dad, but I'll tell you, I'm doing 3 things. I'm going to work hard every day still. I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to try to treat people the right way." And you have to just control what you can control and let the chips fall where they land, whether it's, you know, whatever that may be, wherever that takes you. And so that's the advice I would give.
Great stuff. Great stuff, Matt. Listen, I appreciate you being on here today. I know you got to run to practice, but we enjoyed it, and good luck.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for everything you do for all the coaches around the world. I mean, it's a terrific platform you have, and keep it up. It's great work.
Appreciate it, Matt. Take care, man.
All right. See you, Adam. Bye.
Oh, I'm on mute. Sorry, my 2-year-old is screaming in the background. We're back. with David Choi. What's up, David? Dave,
What's
can you hear
happening?
me?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks
I
for being
sure
on
can.
here.
Can you hear
Are you
me?
rocking? I can, yeah. Are you rocking
Yeah.
an old school Seattle Sonics polo?
What I noticed about you, Adam Gordon, during your, during your Zoom in during this COVID, you're very observant, and I am hardly home, but always repping.
I love it. I love it. I'll just tell you, like, growing up, I'm a Lakers fan. I grew up in LA, but my favorite player in the
Yeah,
NBA was Sean Kemp, hands down, not even close. The Rain Man,
the
and
Rain Man.
so I always had love for the Sonics. Always. Anyways, uh, are you David? Tell us like your background. Are you from the Pacific Northwest?
Born in Chicago, and I moved out to Federal Way, which is just south of Seattle, in 1997. And so I moved out there when I was 8. And so I remember maybe the second three-peat, and that definitely had played a role in my love for basketball. I moved out to Federal Way, Washington, and played high school ball at Decatur High School, home of the Golden Gators. And yeah, from there, I went on to Western Washington University up in Bellingham, Washington, which is about 2 hours north of Seattle. They were the 2012 national champions at the D2 level. And while I was in college, I wanted to go the manager route, and then a number of things happened, and I ended up coaching at a local high school. I was a JV head coach out there, and I started an AAU program. There was a dearth of AAU teams, and there was a lot of talent up there. And so I think when you start an AAU program, you want to make sure that you have some dudes to kind of lay out the foundation, and we had that. And so I did that while I was in college, and I ended up doing my undergrad and my grad school out there, and then I went on to become a high school head coach and a social studies teacher at 23. And I ended up going back to the high school that I attended to be the head coach there, and quit teaching and coaching in 2017 to pursue some entrepreneur efforts. Like you, I have a little one at home, born in 2015, and I ended up quitting teaching in 2017 because just a number of factors there, and worked from home, got to help raise my son, and it was definitely a very fun time, and it definitely a very valuable time for me, and kind of got to learn a little bit about myself and figure out why it is that I teach the way that I do, the way that I coach. Kind of realized that I do a lot of the things that I saw as a player and as an assistant, and so utilized the web, and just really learned a lot about my own coaching style and what I really wanted to do moving forward. And then from there, the last high school gig that I had was at the Northwest School. We had a really stacked 2023 class, so they're rising sophomores, and I wanted to stick around and win a state chip real fast. But in the back of my mind, I knew I wanted to go the college route, and the most experience I ever had coaching college basketball was playing a lot of college hoops 2K8. Played a lot of that on the 360 and the PS3. Recruited my ass off in that game, and played the legacy mode. And yeah, you legacy mode is you start off as a coach, that a rising coach, and you go off to a low major, and you do whatever you got to do, and then eventually they if you do well, you get an offer to take over at a mid major, and Gonzaga would always open up after a couple of years. Mark Few would take an ACC job. I think it was Maryland that he would take over, and I'd go to Gonzaga and then win a couple natties, and then go to a high major of my choice. Turns out it is not that easy to elevate in the coaching profession. And so early in this COVID, thanks to rising coaches, thanks to Twitter, thanks to just overall networking, I wanted to be really proactive in in my like establishing relationships with college coaches that are in a position that I one day wanted to be in. And I got in touch with a bunch of people, and I was, it's amazing how willing people were to have conversations early on in this COVID. People were just so available. It was very, very weird time for a lot of people, and I was able to take advantage of that. And through my process, I realized that I hadn't really been contacting the coaches that already knew me in the area. And so I talked to a local junior college, Highline College, where Brian Scalabrini went. I just told Coach Dawson about my interest in eventually going the college route. And he told me, he's like, this isn't binding upon you accepting this year. It can be in the future, but I definitely want to have you as an assistant or recruiting coordinator. I think he was impressed with how, I feel like as a digital native, I managed to master the web, my Intel skills are very good, and I think that helps on the recruiting front. And I didn't really hesitate. I drove to the AD's house, drove to each player's crib, and told them 6 feet apart that I'm going to be taking an assistant gig at the local junior college. And they were devastated. And as terrible as it sounds, it made me feel good because it meant that I was doing a good job with them. And so, but I think they're in good hands. I joke around with my friends that I think my 4-year-old son can lead them to a state championship because they're so talented. And so, as far as Highline goes, I thought this recruiting class was the best in the entire conference. The junior colleges out in Washington, Idaho, some of Idaho, and Oregon have their own junior college conference, NWAC. And I'm a little biased, but I thought we had the best recruiting class there. And so I was able to contribute to that. And then I got a lead via Rising Coaches and got plugged with the coach and about an assistant job. And from there, I prepared for the Zoom interview, did my research. You know how Zoom interviews go. You get your upper body ready, and you don't have to worry about the lower body. And so that was cool. Got my blazer, got my dress shirt, got all that stuff. Thought I killed it. And then in the middle of the night, packed the family up and went ghost. There's a poet by the name of Lil Wayne who says that real G's move in silence like lasagna, and was able to just get up and go. I didn't really tell people, just told my family, and just drove 40 hours across 4 to 5 days. We managed to split it up. We were able to go from Seattle out to go through Big Sky Country and head over to we visited Yellowstone and Mount Rushmore, which I think is very overrated. Managed to do that. Visited some family in Chicago, and then came over, and I'm now at Hillsdale College in Michigan. And like you, I moved from the Pacific Standard Times over to the East, and and so it was it was definitely fast because I got here on a Saturday, and that following Monday we were starting our 8 hours for D2 workouts.
Well, congratulations, man. Wow, that's a lot. So when did you get there? Last week? I think we have a little delay. Can you hear me? No? David, can you hear me? Let me do this. Let me unplug
Coach.
the mic. Is that better? Can you hear me now? David? No? Hello? Test. David, can you hear me? Nothing. Okay. Well, maybe somebody listening, shoot in the comments if you can hear me. I'll just talk. That was amazing, David. You still can't hear me. Okay. How about now? Little technical difficulties. Never hurt anybody. Hang in there with us, guys. How about now, David? Anything? No. All right. let's do this. David, that was an amazing. Okay, they can hear us. Boom. So we know now it is on David's headphones. David, can you hear me now?
Can you nod your head if you can hear me?
I can. Yeah, I can hear you.
So that's me. Let me.
How about now, David?
All right.
Can you
Are
hear
you
me?
still able to hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Dang, I'm the worst.
No, all good. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, for some reason I'm unable to. Hold on, bear with me. Gotcha.
Sure.
All right.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. We're back.
Ha.
All right. Great stuff, man. That was a lot. First of all, congratulations on the new job.
Thank you.
So you got there when? Like this Monday? 2 Mondays ago?
Oh, yeah, 2 Mondays ago. So this would have been the very last Saturday of August.
So you've been there. This is your second week. You're wrapping up.
Yep. And so
Okay.
it's been awesome. I'm loving it.
So you've been super busy during this pandemic. I think we can make a case that nobody has made more moves and headway than you. What was kind of, you touched on it. You wanted to take advantage of how willing people were to communicate during the pandemic. What was kind of your like strategy? Were you just hitting people up randomly? Were you like, how were you meeting people?
Yeah, I had a pretty good pitch, and I was able to provide some value by providing, I guess, some access to Pacific Northwest recruits. And I think that was a good sell because when you do reach out to people, I think it's really important to provide some sort of value. And and so I try to do what I can to, I guess, I think I heard you say you want to promote yourself without being self-promoting, and I think that's something that I really try to do. Another thing that kind of aligns with that is you want to sell yourself without selling your soul, and so I really try to do whatever I can. And I really did my research when I lined up a phone call. I did whatever I could to, eliminate some of the fluff that goes into the early genuine relationship conversation. Like, so tell me why, where were you at before this? Or why did you get into coaching? Because you can find out that stuff online, especially in this digital age. Like it's as invasive as it sounds, I know more about a lot of these people that I talk to than they know about me. And so that was my leg up to just kind of eliminate some of that and get straight to some conversations that they can remember. Because I'm sure you talk to plenty of people, and they're like, if you look back on your call log from April, there might be some people that you don't remember what you talked about, but I'm sure you remember what's that Maya Angelou thing? Like, you remember how they made you feel, and if they didn't, then it wasn't meaningful, and it's just moving on from there. But there's and for me, what I realize is that when you talk to a bunch of people, you repeat yourself. They don't know that you repeat yourself, but you do. And it's kind of like when I was a teacher. My fifth period class is way better than my first period class because we were teaching the same thing. And so eventually, you were able to become an expert teacher by the fifth period. And so as conversations wore on, I started getting better on the phones, similar to my recruiting. I've been a high school coach for 13 years, being an AAU guy. I hadn't been a college coach except for College Hoops 2K8, and all you do is to click a button, email, phone call, recruit, visit the recruit, and then offer. But learning the tricks of the trade. I definitely learned a lot. I think the most valuable
Zoom or just any sort of like clinic that I saw online was on the Rising Coaches platform with Nick LeGrune. He was able to talk about some of the tricks when it came to recruiting, how to organize your phone book. I thought that was huge, and just how to talk. And as time wore on, my recruiting just got a lot better. I started like getting all giddy and getting excited with myself when it would be a positive conversation. And I'm still working on how to slam it home, but luckily we have a really good head coach here, and he's really easy to sell. And so as far as recruiting tricks and tips and all that, I definitely learned a lot. And if there is anyone out there that would want to learn some tricks, hit me up, Coach D Choi on Twitter, or I'm sure you can find my info somewhere, because I have a little document that I put together of some recruiting tips, and just trying to provide some value for some people.
Yeah, it's great stuff, man. You're just killing it today. Dropping Maya Angelou, Lil Wayne, NBA 2K, or not NBA, NCAA 2K, or whatever that game is. Yeah, I love it. So I think you make a great point. Like, cut out the fluff when you're trying to meet somebody new. Cut out the fluff. You can look up all the stuff. You don't have to ask them about their career trajectory. Yeah, the sooner you can get to good stuff in a conversation and the real stuff, like the more impactful it is. I think that's true.
No doubt.
Yeah. And then shout out Nick LeGrune. Like, what was some of the biggest things you took from that Nick LeGrune Zoom session from Rising Coaches that you listened to?
Yeah, beyond the recruiting, talked about I think his values align with mine, where family is very important to him. He mentioned he has a 4-year-old. I got a 4-year-old as well, and he was talking about take care of the home. You got to take care of the house first, and that is very important. I'm doing a much better job. I'm trying to do better and better, and I still have a ton of room to grow there. And so take care of the house, make sure the kid and the wife are in a good position before I leave the crib, and I definitely need to do better. And I think we all do as coaches. We're so busy, especially with recruiting now starting up. We're over there. We're going to be hitting the road, and we definitely need to do a much better job there. And so that really opened my eyes. No pun intended, because I'm Asian, but really opened my eyes as to what it takes to be a college coach, because I tuned into that. That was pretty early on in this COVID, and so that kind of let me just kind of prepare for what coaching at the college ranks is going to be like as a family man. And so that's something that I definitely picked up on. And for people that haven't gone through the archives, there's some really, really good stuff out there on the Rising Coaches, just the stream.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Going back to like providing value when you reach out to people, and you said you tried to do that by having a good understanding of some of the recruits in your area. I'm thinking of like 2 guys in particular that I've talked to in the last few months that are doing really well in coaching. Nima Omidvar, assistant coach at George Washington.
Yeah.
And Kevin Devitt, assistant coach at Niagara now.
I listened to his Rising Coaches pod with you, and I thought that was very valuable. And he was very transparent with his feelings, and you were also transparent because you've gone through that as well. And I thought that was any sort of like emotion that comes with pods are definitely impressive.
Well, and the one thing that all 3 of you guys have in common is you guys didn't go the manager route, and that's okay. You can still, because there's a lot of people that don't do that and still want to get into college coaching, and they feel like it's too late, and it's not too late. But you do have to get creative and get outside of the box. And the thing that all 3 of you guys did was immerse yourself in grassroots basketball. And you guys weren't using players as a package deal, like, hey, I can get you this kid if you hire me. No, you're using your knowledge. Like, people always want to know where good players are. You're in that area. You get a chance to see them, and you get a chance to prove how valid your opinion is and your evaluation skills by telling them, hey, there's this kid here. He's really good. this is what he's great at. This is what he struggles with. It's just a great tactic for people who are trying to, like you said, connect, but also show that you can provide value and promote yourself a little bit, promote your skill set.
Yeah. Those two guys definitely, among other coaches on the Rising Coaches platform, definitely boosted their stock. With that Kevin Devitt, the pod, just talking about being in the center of the ring. I thought that was really valuable, just like picking up little things. I steal things all the time. My conversations with people, like half of the material is stolen. And so, but I think that's part of learning, being a lifelong learner. And and so definitely try to do what I can to pick little things from a number of different sources for my own personal learning. And the first coach that you mentioned, his Zooms, he's just killing it with that. So definitely providing value, and every step that I take, I want to be able to provide more and more value. And so for me, being in the position that I am now, where I'm not at a JUCO, or I'm not at a high school, I'm not an AU coach where I can provide, maybe give info on players. Now I'm in a different position, and I haven't really been thinking about networking because I've just been focused on trying to do a good job. And, it's like, I know I should probably continue my networking, and I should probably start reaching out to some of these coaches that I talked through early and mid COVID. But it hasn't even crossed my mind.
Well, now you get to call them all individually and just say, hey, just want to let you know, now I'm at Hillsdale College.
Yep.
There's your excuse. So now that you're there, you've made it, right? Your dream is to get into college. And in the last year, you've now been at 2 colleges.
Mm-hmm.
What are you most excited to contribute to Hillsdale? Like what are you anxious to get started with?
Definitely the recruiting. I think that's my specialty. Even I know I said it a couple times, but the video game days, that's like why I played that game. I didn't even play the actual gameplay. I just simulate through the seasons, and then save, load, play it. Oh, if I lost, and I'd reload and save again. But yeah, I'd play that. And at Hillsdale, there's a very particular recruit that we're looking for. Our 2020 incoming class, their average GPA was a 3.9 and a 30 ACT. And so we're looking for high academic kids, and we're in a very unique position at a D2, where we are, I think we are for sure the highest academic D2 in the country. And so we can, once I make that Twitter bio change, I'll probably add that on there. But yeah, it's really cool to be at a school where the head coach has been here for 14 years, never had a single losing season. And what's even more impressive is that he's never had a player transfer out to another school. And that says a lot about our culture. And in regards to culture, I get to sell it as something, and I get to live it. And because he's been doing it for so long, I'm able to kind of talk about what culture is, not what it isn't. And I think when you come into a new program, or if you were to take over a gig, you have to worry about what we don't do. But here we just talk about what we do. And so and that's been a really cool sell for me. Just trying to reach out, and we typically recruit out of the Midwest. And so what I'm trying to do is bring my West Coast prowess out to and bring it to the table. And so I know what we've been doing here is working, but with the social media age, with the internet age, with everything, I think it's definitely worth investigating and kind of keeping our ears to the ground for recruits out west. And
it's a lot colder in Michigan, David. Good luck getting them to move out there.
Hey, that's a future me problem, because right now it's like 70 something, perfect. I'm loving it.
That's beautiful. Okay, great. Talk about, you obviously have a great ability to communicate, connect. You also mentioned like you spent some time taking on some entrepreneurial endeavors. You also started your own AAU program when you were in college. Yeah.
When I was in college, yes.
So like, in addition to your like ability to connect, you also have that like sales gene in you, or whatever, whatever. that business side where like you learn how something works. Now you learn how to deliver that.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. You mentioned guys like the George Washington coach and Coach Devitt, people that kind of I think you said took an unusual route, like an uncommon route, and they got started. And some people think that it's too late. You were mentioning your JUCO head coach got started late after being in sales, and for me, I kind of take that mindset. And when it comes to recruiting, it's like, I'm trying to sell whatever it is that I got, and and so I definitely when I get interested in something, I really dive right in. And so just that I think the entrepreneurial spirit is really big when it comes to successful coaches. And like some of these recruiters out here are just animals when it comes to their salesman-like approach. And I try to do it in the most genuine way possible. And another thing that I stole from Coach LeGrun's Zoom was about relationships are built on honesty and trust. And so I use that all the time with recruits. And so I tell them that, I'm opening the door for them to let me know, because I think it was also your junior college head coach that said the best answer is yes, second is no, and then the third is a ghost. And so, I definitely, want to keep the doors open for them to be honest with me, and they're not going to be honest with me unless I'm honest with them. And and so in my own recruiting, I think that's going to be what I'm going to hang my hat on. I think, not to get I guess just to continue on stuff that you said before, but just this whole idea of coaches want to get good at a lot of things, and then ADs want you to specialize in something. I don't think it's a consensus or anything, but I think that's what I've been hearing. And so if I am going to pick something, it's probably going to be my recruiting and just being a good dude. And I think that's really hard to put in a resume. It's really hard to sell that you're a good guy, that how to have social awareness, I guess, when it comes to just being cool, and when to be corny, when not to be corny, when to keep your mouth shut, when to talk. And so that's going to be an interesting dynamic at the Final Four. I've never been to a Final Four. I've always wanted to, but never had a polo to get in. But I don't want to be. I hope that I have the social awareness to where I'm not one of the fanboys chasing Coach Adam Gordon into the bathroom.
The Final Four is a shit show, David. There's good things about it. There's bad things about it. Here's my pro tip for the Final Four. Make appointments going into it. You know what I mean? It's such a cluster of people that just wander around all day, from the hotel lobby to the convention center to a restaurant to a bar to an event. And it's really easy to just go with that flow and talk to whoever you run into, but you'll miss people. So if you go into it with hey, let's grab a cup of coffee at 9:00. Hey, and you don't have to schedule out your whole day, but schedule out a few meetings of people you want to make sure that you hit, and then just wander around and get drunk the rest of the time or whatever you do.
So on Sunday, April 4th, can I make an appointment with you? Let's say
let's go Friday, and it's a deal. Yeah, no, for sure. You're a sponge, man. You pick all of it. I feel like you're quoting 15 different Zooms and podcasts that we've done, but that's great, man. It's cool to see you take all that on, take all that knowledge and apply it in a very short amount of time. And it's obviously worked for you. It's landed you a job.
COVID has been amazing. I think I might be the only person to ever say that, but COVID has been good for a number of reasons. Obviously, there are a ton of terrible things that go along with that, but it's been great for me to be at home and really reconnect with my family and to be more present. Oftentimes, I'd be working and I would just I'd be on the computer, on the phone, or whatever, and I wouldn't be very present. I'd be in the building, but my mind is in a completely different place. So I've been able to disconnect a little bit. And when it's time, there's always something to do. When I'm on a drive, I think that's the most selfish thing, but it's the best time to make a phone call is on a drive. And I think that's been really, really good for me.
David, why is it whenever you get in the car, the long drive, right? You got a couple hours in the car, you call and nobody answers. And then as soon as you get there, everyone starts hitting you back.
Yeah, that happens all the time. And I always leave a voicemail. I'm like, hey, it's not urgent, just checking in on you. No need to call back. And they always call back, and
always
in the middle of something. And I feel very guilty, and we just end up playing phone tag. And I think I'm it on more than I'd like.
Yeah, it's one of those cruel jokes that the universe plays on us. Well, David, man, go ahead.
So on these member spotlights, you're always asking people about their scouting report. What's your scouting report? I'm
sorry. Yeah, I didn't even ask you. You want my scouting report?
I heard you can shoot it, but that's it.
I am a mid-range specialist. If you get me 17 feet and in, it's going to go in 80% of the time. No, that's exaggerating, but I can shoot in mid-range area. I'm good. I'm very slow. I am a physical and willing defender. I think an underrated defender.
Okay. At least you're rated.
I can pass a little bit.
Okay.
You don't want me like handling the rock. Like if you force me to, I can straight line drive, but if you force me to have to if you really pressure me, I can handle myself, but that's taking me out of my comfort zone. So really a standstill shooter, 15 feet and in, 17 feet and in, a decent defender, tough and willing. There's not a whole lot of use for me at a high level game, David, other than I kind of know what's going on out there and I can get the ball to the right places, but that's kind of the extent of it.
Nice. I'll be sure to keep in touch about my recruitment of you, because I think you might have some eligibility.
Tell me what you think of this idea while we're here on the phone. Always looking to do stuff at the Final Four. We do some events already, but always looking to expand. There's always talk of should we get some pickup games going, which would be fun. And those things happen already. I think a Sunday morning kickball tournament would just be would crush it.
I think so.
It's a different sport. No one really takes kickball seriously, but you can still compete.
Yeah. Dizzy bat on Saturday night, and then Sunday you got kickball. I like it.
What do you think?
I like it. I'd be in. I selfishly always want to be a pitcher though, and slow pitch and kickball. Just because for me, whenever I'm in workouts or practice, if I ever pass to a guy, it's pretty annoying for them. But I always spin the ball, and that's my kickball pitching scheme.
Nice. You got the knuckleball, right?
Yeah. When I play catch with people, that's all I throw is a knuckleball.
Yeah, that's the worst people to play catch with. Well, David, I appreciate it, man. Enjoyed talking to you. Keep rocking the Seattle Supersonics polos, and good luck at Hillsdale. Congrats on your new venture, and look forward to following along.
Thank you. And so now, does that mean that I get to call you Gordo like everyone else?
Call me Gordo. Call me Ad. People call me different things based on when they met me. So as Rick Ray is the one that started calling me Gordo. So if you knew me between the end of my Clemson days to last year, it was Gordo. If you knew me before or after that, it was Adam. So you call me whatever.
Yeah, everyone else now called me Choi, but now people are starting to call me David, and it's really weird. And so just call me Choi.
I've been called a lot worse than both of those. So I respond to either.
Nice.
All right, David, I enjoyed it, man. Take care, and talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.